Hello everyone and welcome to this early access look at the Mortal Empires DLC. In this 1v1 match, I'll be playing the Vampire Count led by Manfred von Karstein. And guys, I'm going to be facing off against Indie Pride and Milk and Cookies Total War, who's going to be playing the High Elves led by Tyrion. So let's jump right into this game, guys, and have a bit of fun. So as far as my front line goes, I do have an alternating core of skeleton warriors who are going to be supported by the more elite armor-piercing Graveguard with great weapons. So the skeleton warriors, as you guys would probably guess, are just a fodder unit, and I want to use them to kind of take the brunt of the damage from these white lions. And from there, hopefully these Graveguard with the great weapons can give a bit of a punch to those high elf armored troops. And it looks like these guys did actually get a buff on their weapon strength. If I remember correctly, I think it was 38 or 39 before Mortal Empires, so definitely some good stuff. So that's pretty much my entire front line. In the back, I do have the Mighty Black Coach. So this is the moment all of you guys have been waiting for. And all jokes aside, I know this thing was a bit of a meme in Total War Warhammer 1, but I actually think it's not bad against the High Elves. It does have very good armor-piercing values. It has a true anti-infantry bonus, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and check just to be sure. And yes, it does have one of 20. So it's going to be very effective at kind of riding through these white lines and kind of flanking and even rear charging some of these Phoenix Guard perhaps if they're not braced. So hopefully we can get maximum value out of this Mighty Black Coach, and guys, we'll see how it goes. I do have one group of Fellbats here, and these guys I really like to use against archers in the initial charge. So as soon as I get into the range of these archers, who are probably going to be shooting at my Mortis engine or my Cryptors, I like to just fly these Fellbats in and just kind of block up these archers. So then I can advance on my opponent relatively safe, and I can hopefully mitigate some of that missile fire. On top of that, I do have a Necromancer right here, so he's basically just kind of a summon bot. He's just going to be using the zombies. I never actually noticed that he just has this guy riding on his back right here, which is pretty funny. But basically, we're just going to be using this Raised Dead right here behind the front line and just hopefully being able to push back to those archers, which is going to be so important. I do, of course, have Manfred von Karstein, and I made a huge mistake this game in my picking of abilities. So I have Winds of Death, which can now be aimed, so I wanted to try that out, but it is also very expensive. You can see the basic cast of Winds of Death is now 20 Winds of Magic, but still it could potentially be very devastating. On top of that, I do have Raised Dead, Invocation of Nehek, and I do also have Spirit Leech. So Spirit Leech is definitely not bad, but I realized, I figured this is going to be really similar to the Bretonnia matchup. Not the Vampire Counts, but the High Elves are probably just going to bring very heavy cav and just kind of ride through your front line and just use them in conjunction with Earthblood from the Lore Master of Hoth to kind of just, pound your front line down. But Fate of Buna is so darn good against these guys because the Dragon Princes do have physical ward save and fire ward save, but they have no defense against magic. So a good Fate of Buna would probably chunk almost half their health and would really, really help in this fight. So I definitely really regretted not bringing the Fate of Buna. So if you guys end up in this matchup, I definitely would recommend that. I did some testing after the game, or after we finished playing, and it was very, very strong. So I do have the Claw of Nagash right here, which is definitely going to be a little bit scary because of his missile presence and perhaps these Dragon Princes, but it is a very good unit, very good against elite infantry. So units like Black Orcs and White Lions and some of these Phoenix Guard over here can definitely be melted over time by this Claw of Nagash. One group of Cryptors in the back, and I think that's pretty much it for my army. I think I have some Skeleton Spears back here to kind of help out against Cav. And on the far side, you can see I do have some Direwolves vanguarded. So that's it for my army. So for Indie Pride, he has 3 groups of White Lions, and I definitely like them quite a bit. They're very well-rounded infantry. They're definitely a little bit better than the Graveguard in terms of their general stats. They have 38 melee attack, 36 melee defense. And if you look at the Graveguard, those are Sternsmain. Let me find some of the regular Graveguard here, and they have 24 and 26 in those categories. Granted, they do have higher weapon strength, but these guys definitely, will trade pretty evenly, I think. It'll do well for a cheaper cost. But, as the battle goes on, these guys will definitely get weaker when their martial prowess wears off. So they start off stronger, but I think they will kind of fall a little bit later in the battle, hopefully. Aside from that, Indie Pride does have 2 groups of Phoenix Guard, which are very good. As you guys know, one of the big ways that Chaos and these other factions were able to beat the Vampire Counts is just using very durable elite halberd units. So having these Phoenix Guard with their anti-large, they can beat Cryptors, they can probably beat Graveguard with that physical resist. Just a very solid pick by Indie Pride over here. Lore Master of Hoth with Healing and Spirit Leech, some Archers, Dragon Princes in the back. I was just thankful he didn't have 2 of these. He does also have Tyrion, who I think is probably the right pick here because Tyrion has the Sunfang, so he can actually roast a ton of skeletons and fodder units with this. He does also have a Noble with the anti-large, armor piercing, so he can probably hunt down my Cryptors, go after Manfred, or chase down my Claw of Nagash. So guys, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. There's a little bit of posturing here, so I'm going to fast forward just a little bit while we advance. So you can see the undead forces are going to be advancing right here, just right at Indie Pride. In the same time, I do have my Dire Hounds, or my Dire Wolves in the back. Sorry guys, it's been a while since I played the Vampire Counts. Coming around the back, so I really need to kind of pressure these archers, and I probably should have brought 2 groups right here. You can see I do also have a group of Fellbats kind of just sitting in the pocket, just waiting to get close. So right now I'm almost in archer range. They can kind of reach my front line of Skeleton Warriors and Graveguard, but none of those are great targets for the archers. So you can see my Fellbats are immediately going to fly in. Probably should have left a little bit earlier, but you can see he's shooting at Skeleton Warriors right now, and that was just the AI targeting. He's going to quickly be shooting to this Claw of Nagash as well as these Cryptors, because that's definitely one of the more optimal targets. So now the Fellbats are going to come in, and obviously they're going to get massacred relatively quickly. But neither of these archers are pretty much going to shoot while they're being attacked, so I could advance relatively safely. But you can see Indie Pride has done a great job just peppering down my Claw of Nagash. But guys, you can see the Black Coach getting a little bit wild in the front line. It's going to be riding through these white lines, and you know, I think he got a kill or two. Yeah, it looks like he got one kill, but it did take some damage. But you can see he did respond with his Noble and all these Phoenix Guard kind of charging in. But you can see the skeletons are now kind of inundating and blocking these guys up. You can see the Grave Guard are going to be engaging with the Phoenix Guard in the white lines. So he definitely has the infantry advantage. I mean, he has a lot of strength with his infantry, so I'm going to need to get some massive value out of my spellcasting. So you can see Manfred right here is in the main fight, and he's going to be probably summoning some zombies. It looks like I actually already did. So the zombies in the back are kind of tying up these archers and doing a pretty good job of, you know, beating them down with the fellback. So definitely some great work. I do summon a second group of zombies in the back to kind of just block up these Phoenix Guard and keep them from engaging in the front line. You can see my Grave Guard are having to do an uphill charge, but it looks like the backs of these white lines are turned. So the Phoenix Guard are definitely going to get a very, very good rear charge there and get that charge bonus, even though I think their charge bonus isn't very good. Let's go ahead and check. Yeah, it's only 10, so that's pretty pitiful. But on that same note, Indie Pride gets a great blast with his Sunfang from Tyrion and just absolutely roasts my Stearnsmen. Does some pretty good damage to the other fodder units and skeleton warriors. So right now I'm just kind of parking my Claw of Nagash. I wanted to get it so it was hitting these guys and the front line, but you can see Indie Pride reacts very, very well. He pulls this Lore Master of Hoth, who hits like a truck, and also that Noble, who does have anti-large. So I have to pull back through my forces and kind of, you know, try and regroup. And you can see the mighty Black Coach coming in, just wreaking havoc on his forces, up to 8 kills, so, you know, not too bad. On that same note, I do pop an Invocation of Nehek in the front line, but he has kind of gotten some of his archers back online, so I did get some skeletons up around the flank, and I'll be trying my best to kind of pressure these guys down. In the back, you can see these Phoenix Guard are definitely cleaning up my summons, so he's definitely not going to have a problem with that. And, you know, these Dragon Princes are tied down, but they do have 84 kills against my fodder, and once they get loose, it's going to be really tough for me to kill them. I don't have too many answers for them. I probably should have brought more Cryptors, but I was also very afraid of the High Elf Archers. I was like, Cryptors are probably really good against Dragon Princes, good against white lines, but Phoenix Guard and Archers, I feel like tear them up, so I definitely need to experiment a little bit more with this matchup. So Manfred will be pulling back right here. You can see it's going to be waddling away because the Phoenix as well as the Lore Master of Hoth are chasing him down. Trying to pop this Claw of Nagash to kind of drag these forces down, but I probably should have had it like parked back here so it's hitting all of these troops. And the Black Coach is still just kind of wreaking havoc. The balance of power is still very even. Let's see, so it has 15 kills, so not the most, but still doing a good job. You can see my Skeleton Warriors in the back. And they are pretty fast by infantry standards. They have 31 speed compared to the 33, so the white lines are a little bit faster, but they are elves, so that makes sense. So chasing those guys off and just using the Black Coach on the back line to kind of chase some of his forces down. I'm getting that good drain on these Phoenix Guard, but darn, they are so durable. They're just holding the line against everything, so I'm trying my best to just crush these forces over here. I do pop an Invocation of Nehek on this side of the battlefield, overcasted. So I do have some zombies and other troops here, but I really don't have too much punching power left. I do have 15 Cryptors who are doing some pretty good damage against Tyrion, kind of poking him down a little bit. But aside from that, it's mostly skeletons, so let's take an overarching look at things. On the far side, you can see Indie Pride's archers are shooting into this Claw of Nagash. So this was one of the big game-breaking mistakes I made. I let these archers regroup and get like several really healthy volleys. I try and heal it, but he uses the Spirit Leech as well, and he also does have Tyrion coming from this Claw of Nagash. So this was one of the biggest issues in the game. My answer of kind of draining and kind of playing that attrition game versus all of his forces was my Claw of Nagash. It was a big investment, but he did get these archers back online, and I had so many tools to kind of chase them off. So that was a huge misplay on my part, and it's definitely very bad because it's going to cost me this Claw of Nagash. So you can see it's negative 21 leadership. It is indeed crumbling, has about 150 leadership, and well, not 150 HP, excuse me. So it's pretty much offline now, and he does also have his Dragon Princes. So they're finally free, and you can see they're riding down these foul undead, so very, very well played there, kind of getting those guys free from the clutches of my zombie summons. And I do believe I send my Cryptors after them in just a moment, so that poison and armor piercing is going to be very good, and these are skeleton spears who have anti-large, but still being sandwiched between these very elite units is not good. So now I do get my Skeleton Warriors who chase those white lines off the battlefield, kind of chasing after these archers, but it's too little too late. I really needed to shut these guys down earlier. And you guys can see the balance of power is now tilting just a little bit in Indie Pride's favor. I still do have some decent forces. I have the Black Coach, of course. My Grave Guard on the high ground have lost to the Phoenix Guard. It looks like they are indeed crumbling with 12 models left. I have a group of the Stearnsmen right here, but Stearnsmen are more kind of just a support unit. I mean, they're very good in a duelist type situation. They have good anti-infantry, but against armor, they don't have the best AP values. They have 38 weapon strength, but only 8 of that is armor piercing. So against Phoenix Guard, who not only have great armor, but also have physical ward save, it's going to be incredibly tough to get through those guys with the Stearnsmen. But honestly, the Stearnsmen are so good at kind of holding your middle line. I think they're a must bring. So you can see the Black Coach has had a Spirit Leech cast on it. Kind of like funny to think of as, the Black Coach having its Spirit leeched. But I do have my skeletons continuing to kind of pursue over here. I have some in the back that hopefully can chase off these white lines, but there's actually 37 of them back there, so pretty wild stuff. But Tyrion is definitely doing a very, very good job kind of leading his forces to victory, and I wonder if he does do fire damage here. No, he actually doesn't do fire damage. You think he would since his sword is literally on fire, guys, but I guess he doesn't do fire damage. You can see these Dragon Princes right here are trying to get out and do some cycle charging, but I did summon some zombies with Manfred to kind of block him up. So they're actually just steady. Their leadership is only 39, so it's not improbable that I can kind of push them off the battlefield. You can see the Lore Master of Hoeth. He's taking a bit of damage from these Cryptors right here, and the Black Coach is doing a little bit of its fancy cycle charging. And the Black Coach now does have all of its buffs, guys, so it's going to be very strong. You can see these white lines actually get terror-routed by the mighty Black Coach, and these Phoenix Guard are shaken. 11 leadership could potentially just rout off the battlefield. So I do also summon some zombies in the back who've kind of trapped down some of these Phoenix Guards. So guys, a little bit atrocious here, so we'll do just a bit of a fast forward. So you can see Manfred is just doing his best to kind of chase down some of these Dragon Princes and get them. And you can see Indie Pride has gotten free with the Dragon Princes, and now the mighty Black Coach is in trouble. So as you guys know, Black Coaches and Chariot units in general have a really hard time against mats. And the Black Coach is okay in sustained combat, but it's more meant for like riding through infantry. So if you can do any, you really need to avoid cap. And these guys look to be, what is slowing them down? Oh, they're actually poisoned by something. So it's not the Black Coach applying poison. What is applying that poison to those guys? Is it Manfred? Oh, it must have been, they must have had some of the Cryptors attacking them. So right now I'm just using Manfred to try and pick off this Lore Master of Hoeth, and Manfred is a pretty good combatant himself. 66 melee attack, 50 melee defense. He can definitely put up a pretty good fight. And I finally got the Black Coach free, so you can see it's attacking some of these guys, and it does have 53 kills, which is not bad at all. It looks like it just went up to 55, and of course these Phoenix Guard are now going to suffer a rear charge penalty. Unfortunately for me, Indie Pride has gotten some of his archers back, and it looks like there is a group of 40 here. So 40, even though their HP is very low, it's a pretty decent little model count, so he's getting some pretty good focus fire. And guys, you can see my forces are starting to buckle a little bit. He has a very good pocket. He gets a great roast right there. So my zombies and my skeleton spears get hit. Granted, they're mostly fodder units, but it's pretty much all I have left. I don't really have much punching power like I mentioned a few minutes ago. I have the Cryptors with 7 models, but it looks like Tyrion and his Noble with their anti-large bonus, and the Dragon Princes are going to probably be able to focus those guys down. You can see that Manfred right here is doing some okay work on this Lore Master of Hoeth, but he's going to be running back to the protection of these Dragon Princes. And guys, it's looking very, very grim for the mighty undead forces. The Cryptors are going down. You can see my Graveguard, the Sternsman, very durable, very hard to kill, and they do have 47 kills, which is not bad, but they have no chance against Phoenix Guard. So the Black Coach is coming in for one final thrust right here. You can see it's going to try and take out these Phoenix Guard, but they're actually, they're steady. They still have 50 leadership, but Tyrion is going to just absolutely massacre Manfred. Manfred is, he's a decent duelist, and does he have 110 armor? Wow, that's really good. I could have sworn it was lower. Maybe he got a buff, I'm not sure. Manfred does have Spirit Leech, but at this point my Winds of Magic are pretty much offline. I did try and cast a Winds of Death earlier, but it missed pretty horribly, so I did lose a lot of Winds of Magic on that as well, which would have been very nice here, but it's a very close battle. Dragon Princes are very low, but he just has that leadership. He has the Lore Master of Hoeth, he has Tyrion, he also has a Noble that are all in pretty good health, and I just don't have enough to stop them. So that's going to be all she wrote for the Vampire counts. Very, very well played to Indie Pride of Milk and Cookies Total War. It was definitely tough. So I have a few criticisms. I think of my own build. I think Manfred von Carstein, I needed Fata Buna. It would have been so good. I could have gotten Fata Buna on these Dragon Princes and then a Fata Buna on these Phoenix Guard, and I think that would have been enough to kind of tilt the tide and really allow my infantry and my Grey Opens to survive a little bit longer, because they just lasted so long and put up such a great fight. So I think Fata Buna is definitely a must in this build, and I would definitely implement that next time. The Graveguard with Grey Opens didn't do bad. I mean, 82 kills against High Elves is not bad at all, and 44 here, probably against Phoenix Guard, still isn't terrible. So I definitely think that was okay. Skeletons did their job, chased down archers. You can even see 71 kills on this group. The Claw of Nagash is something else I might kind of reconsider, because I feel like archers, you have the Dragon Princes, you also have potentially a Phoenix. So I think a Phoenix might be really strong in this build, because it could just fly over your skeletons and drop the Flamespire bombs and do a ton of damage. So I think the Phoenix is going to be really threatening to the Claw of Nagash, so I might rethink that. It's very expensive. Maybe bring some Blood Knights, because Blood Knights would probably lose to Dragon Princes, but at the very least they could maybe kind of hold them up and tie them down. That would actually be really interesting. I'll probably need to do some testing to see who actually wins that. But aside from that, the second Necromancer was really nice for summoning some zombies in the back line, and yeah, it was good stuff. I like Indie Pride's army quite a bit. The white lines are solid. The Phoenix Guard give them anti-large against Cryptors and other monstrous threats. Archers are pretty good. A little bit dangerous. The archers did kill that Claw of Nagash. I should have been much more effective at kind of pinning them down with my zombies and skeletons. I kind of saw them rout and didn't think they were really a threat, but Indie Pride did a really good job of kind of getting them back in the fight and then taking out my Claw of Nagash. But the Claw of Nagash, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I think it definitely has some great potential, but you have to invest a lot to protect it, so some give and take there. But yeah, very well played to my opponent, Indie Pride. Look forward to facing you again. And guys, we actually have a lot more battles coming. Indie Pride and I jumped on, as soon as we got access and just played a ton of battles. So guys, stay tuned. We got a lot more content coming soon. And guys, have an excellent night and take care.